Hello, and welcome to my presentation, a technology change project on PushPay. My name is Nick Johnson. At the current moment, I'm a worship pastor at New Hope Community Church. With one campus in Cambridge, another in Isani, and one coming soon to Bram, the way that we think about ministry is quite different than it is or was a couple years ago. I think about this quote from Rainey and Wellman. People and institutions exist now in information and communication ecologies that are strikingly different from the ones that existed just a generation ago. And another quote, change monster, the inability of large companies to change quickly. This was said by Patrick Forth in his TED Talk, How Companies Continue to Thrive in Times of Change. So, how do we thrive in change? Well, our goal at New Hope is to develop passionate followers of Jesus Christ. And on top of that, to see Isani County and beyond filled with the presence of Jesus. Now, to step into this technological world, we have chosen to go the route of paperless giving. Not only that, but we decided to do away with offering altogether. Why and how did we do that? Well, using PushPay. What is it? PushPay is a donor management system using donor tools, finance tools, custom community app, and for the faith sector, nonprofit organization and education providers. Now, our life before PushPay was a little bit different. We used pen and paper and calculators. There was 8 counters at 2 locations, a total of 14 volunteers, 2 people inputting information into QuickBooks. There was 3,000 sheets of paper that was printed with names and addresses each week. 4 hours it took to do this. Now, if you take the math to this, there's 3,000 sheets of paper at 6 cents a piece. That's $1,800. A month's worth would be $7,200. And a year's worth is a whopping $46,400. Hour-wise, 4 hours in 4 weeks is 16 hours a month. 16 hours a month times a year is 192 volunteer hours. Another thing is finding a day that works with everyone's schedule to do the counting. All this was part of our weekly ritual. Now look to the difference of after PushPay. There were 2 people counting now. There's 1 hour a week. So if you put the 2 together, 4 hours with 16 people went down to 1 hour with 2 people. From an administrative standpoint, this was a phenomenal thing. Also, the recurrence of giving went up from 30% to 60%, with 50% of the recurrence of giving being made online. This was part of our thrust as an organization to do things totally online. So this is how we rolled it out, though. The rollout of no offering went like this. we have been using PushPay for 3 years. So some folks were considered familiar with it, while others were not. The decision to roll it out was made on Christmas Eve of 2018. Now, this new policy was presented 3 weeks prior to Christmas Eve, so it was just 3 Sundays. There is a box in the back that was used for that is used for people that still have the need to use cash or check, because, like it or not, even in rollout situations, that occurs. An interesting quote that I came across in the reading was this: whichever way you make the decision, you're going to gain something and you're going to lose something. This was written by Joseph George in the article Forget Right or Wrong, Decision Making is About Trade-Offs. When I think about those trade-offs, some things come to mind, both positive and negative. One of the trade-offs is that being a multi-generational and multi-campus church, our older generation was unfamiliar with online use and with the technology in general. They were more apt to use cash or check. More times than not, these were the folks that do a lion's share of the giving. So, in a sense, we alienated a huge part of our congregation. There is also the issue of the cost of using PushPay. PushPay's services are about $7,200 a year. Now that has added very, very good returns on that. But it is still a negative to a point. Now to some of the positives. Some of the positives are there's more fluidity on Sunday morning. Before implementing the no offering policy, we would have to pause after worship, like 3 songs in, so that there was a break, and that inevitably changed when we went straight through worship. More people were able to engage. Another thing is that new first-time visitors feel more welcome when they know they're not going to be asked for money. Their guard goes down a little bit. We encourage our members and those that are committed to the ministry at New Hope to get plugged into the PushPay. And that leads back to the recurrence of giving. Now, that had also gone up. So, if I were in charge of the rollout, how would I do it differently? Well, that brings me to another thing that I read by Diane Arguar. The biggest mistake change managers make is thinking communication is the same as engagement. So, how I would go is that I would better communicate the how and the why. I think when you communicate the how and the why to the staff and to the volunteer, it's the trickle down of they can better inform the congregation. I think a longer transition time was needed. 3 months maybe instead of 3 weeks. It was just, I think it was too soon to just go completely paperless. making the box more visible. I think that in the absence of not doing a regular offering and having the box in the back, people don't always see it. And so to make it semi-visible, there's still that thing about a stigma of seeing how much people put into the plate. I know that I've experienced that many times, and maybe that's just the way I was, but I can't think that I'm the only one. And I think another thing is to come alongside the older generation, explain it more clearly, spend more time with them, and be able to reassure them that their identity is safe, that their bank accounts are safe. And there have been instances of we setting up PushPay accounts for folks who are unable to, or that don't have that ability or technology in their minds, and they've come back and thanked us. And so that would kind of be my plan. So with all that said, the wrap up is this. I think PushPay is a great piece of technology. It has allowed us to continue to do our calling, both now and in the future. I think without PushPay, the idea of planting New Hope Bram might not have happened. Because of PushPay, we are able to know how much is coming in towards that specific account. And all that due to using this technology. So I hope that you enjoyed this presentation and found it very informative, and that you know a little bit more about PushPay. Thank you for listening.